Okay, Parshat Vayishlach. I want to actually take a minute to dive into the depths of the pshat of the parasha. Vayishlach, I believe that, and not just my belief, the Torah is absolutely eternal. Every word that is written in the Torah is relevant to us today, and therefore everything that happens in this parasha is relevant personally and as a nation of Israel. And I think that this is a really, really powerful one. So let's dive in for a minute. We have the beginning, right? Vayishlach Yaakov melachim lefanav el Esav achiv arza seir sde Edom, right? We know that Yaakov is going and he's going to send all of these messengers to Esav, to the land of Seir and Edom. V'yitzar otom lemor, and he tells them, right? Ladoni Esav ko amar avdecha Yaakov im lavan garti v'ata ve'echar ad ata. Right? He says to them, tell Esav, I've been living with Lavan for 22 years and up until now. Right? And pretty much he's creating an initiative here. We don't really know what was he thinking. Why is he sending these things to Esav? In the pshat of the psukim, we're not really sure. Like what's the reasoning behind it? It's pretty simple, straight out. And by the way, it's very obvious that he receives an answer that he did not expect to receive. Right? Ve'shuva malachim El Yaakov lemor banu el achicha el Esav v'gam olech likatcha v'arbamot ish imo. Right? He's like, yeah, they come back. They're like, yep, we told Yaakov, and by the way, he says hi, and he's also coming to kill you. And we know that this is a surprise to him because it says, Vayira Yaakov mo v'yetzer lo v'yachat et ha'am v'et asher ito. Right? He was afraid and distressed. He divided the people into two camps, and the flock and the cattle and all the things. And he says, if Esav will attack this camp, he starts preparing. He gets into this crazy, kind of action mode. How do we battle this? And just by thinking of this, it's interesting. The Midrash in Bereshit Rabbah asks a pretty obvious question. It's a pshat question. Why is he doing this? Let's think for a second of the map of Israel. I have one behind me. But let's think for a second of the map of Israel. Where is Yaakov coming from? He's coming from Haran. Haran is like northeast Syria of today. Where is Esav? He's in Edom. Edom is like south of the Dead Sea, mountains of Jordan, near all the way down near towards Eilat. Like there, he could have just come into the land, not tell him at all. Why is he doing this? The Midrash asks, right? Vayishlach Yaakov, right? Rav Huna patach. Rav Huna opens. Machzik bazne kerev over mitaber al riv lolo. It's like someone who sees this sleeping wild dog, like a Doberman Pinscher, right? And he wakes him up and gets into a fight. Why would you ever do that? Why would you wake a sleeping lion? Why would you wake a sleep? What's happening? Shmuel bar Nachman amar. Right? The next one. Mashal la'archilistim she'yashem leparshat drachim. Right? There's like a thief, a robber, who's sleeping on the main highway, a junction. Aval chad ushare me'irle. And someone passes by and he wakes him up. Amar le, kum lech, devisha shachiach chacha. Get up, this is a place of dangerous people. Right? If I would keep reading inside, then he's like, oh, thanks for waking me up and I'll give me all your money. Like, that's literally what happens. What do you mean I woke you up to, what's happening? He could have just gone into the land, not said anything, and everything would have been great. Or not. Why complicate things, essentially? Why complicate things, Yaakov? What's going on here? So the first thing he does is he prepares for battle. He's gonna divide his camp, right? He divides his camp, his cattle. He says if he's gonna be hit by one side, then at least the other side will stay, right? He prays. He sends all of these different presents, flock, cattle, all the things, right? And then we also have something very interesting that in Pshat we would want to maybe ask. After all of this, it says in Pasuk Kaf Bet, V'akam balayla hu, v'yikach et shte nashav, et shte shifchotav, et 11 ילדיו, ויעבור את מעבר יבוק. He gets up at night, and he takes his 2 wives and his 2 maidservants and 11 of his kids, and they cross over the Yabok crossing. Now, this doesn't sound like something you would ask a question about unless you understand what Yabok is. Yabok is one of the largest rivers, like canyons, in Jordan. And we're talking about not like a nice walk in the park. We're talking about an intense hike where they're like going down mountain cliff sides. Like I'm thinking as someone who likes to hike, and I have, 5 boys and we all love hiking. Would I at night enter into like the crazy canyons of the desert to like hike it? Probably not. Also, we know that at night people didn't travel in the ancient world. They didn't travel because it was dangerous. So it's both dangerous, and think about it, he has 11 kids. His youngest kids are young, 7, 8 years old. So what's happening here? Why? What's going on? And then a bigger pshat. By the way, we're gonna read the Rashbam. I think that the Rashbam kind of brings a whole different light to this idea. But then suddenly, right, we see that he's surprised by Esav, right? Lamed Gimel, V'yisai Yaakov einav, v'yar hine Esav bא ועמו 400 איש, ויחץ את הילדים על לאה ועל רחל על שתי השפחות. It's like he suddenly sees that Esav's there with his 400 men, and then he divides the camp, and Leah and Rachel and all the... When you read the Psukim, the Pshat is Yaakov is stressed out by this. Like, it's like, oh, you got me. Here he is. He's here. Wait, what do you mean? You've been preparing for this the whole entire parak before. You've been sending different flock and sheep in intervals and waiting, and you've already split the camps. Are you splitting them again? It sounds like he's like caught off guard, because it doesn't even say he splits it nicely. It's like, it's like, guys, he's here. Move everybody out of the way. You go this way, you go that way. It's what is happening? What's happening? Something here is off. And of course, this is not my idea. This is the Rashbam's idea. I also heard it from Rabbi Al Vered, who gave such a beautiful... So I'm just sharing it with you guys. I'm going to be the vessel for that. And also, in between all of this, we have the story of the angel. The story of the angel comes in, fights with him all night, and then lets him go. So why does he... What is the purpose of the angel? Like, in the pshat. And so there's the idea he came to bless him. Right? But if you say he came to bless him, he doesn't really bless him. Like he says, bless me before I let you go. That's not really why he's there. And the blessing that he gives isn't really a blessing. He's telling him information that will happen. He essentially says, right? Reading inside, guys, it's important. ויאמר לו יעקב יאמר עוד שמך כי אם ישראל כי שריתם אלוהים ומלאשים בתוכה. Right, your name Yaakov, right? It's hard to translate this exactly because it really is a future tense. Like, you will at some point no longer be Yaakov. You will be called Yisrael because you have struggled, you've battled with men and with God, and you have prevailed. He's saying, I've heard in the upper worlds that Hashem is preparing to give you this new name, Yisrael. You're not quite ready yet for it, but it's coming down. This is the direction. Like what happened here tonight, this is the direction. You will in the future be called Yisrael. And again, later there are psukim that Hashem says, from now on, your name is Yisrael. You will no longer be called Yaakov. And a little bit from now. So what's the deal? What is this whole story? So it's interesting because if you think about the names here, they're really powerful. The name Yaakov, which is a heel, in the depths of it, why our heel is called that is because it's like this. It's kind of similar to the word Yaakov, right? Something that like goes around, like our heel makes this curve. It's like a roundabout way. It's not direct, whereas opposed to Yisrael is Yashar El. It's direct to God, right? It's one way, and it's interesting because this kind of really is what Yaakov is up until now. He deals with things not head on. It's always going to be a roundabout. It's non-confrontational in a sense, right? I was born second, so I'm going to like buy the birthright. I'm not going to confront it and say, hey, I'm buying the birthright. And there's the whole story with Rivka and the trickery. And again, this is all divine. And obviously it's like Ratzon Hashem. But it's always around the way. It's like, oh, my wife got switched. So I'll work 7 more years and I'll get Rachel as well. And the biggest is when he runs away from Lavan. I'm not going to confront Lavan. I'm gonna do it in a way that's I'm gonna pretty much jump over the obstacles. I'm gonna go around the obstacles. I'm not going straight on. And it's a way to live life. This is one way that we can deal with adversary, with things that are hard in our life. That this is an option. It's not necessarily bad. It's just it's an option of life. And it's relevant for individuals and maybe even families. But as a nation, it's not relevant. It's not a relevant way to live. And this is really a turning point in Yaakov, right? So how do we read this? How do we reread this in the Pshat? The Rashbam brings down something incredible. I'm actually not going to say it inside just for time's sake. You can go learn it. It's from V'gam Hinehu Acharenu on Vayakom Balaylahu, and you can learn it in Maval book. That's where you find it in the Rashbam. But essentially, Yaakov knows that Esav is waiting for him. He's been waiting for him ever since he left. And he knows that if he just goes, Esav has all of his henchmen, all of his places. He's going to find out and he will come attack him. That is what Esav is going to do. He's going to do it. So what will I do? He devises a plan. And what's the plan? I'm going to initiate a meeting. I'm going to tell Esav, I'm coming, and we're going to meet up. And that way, I know he'll come. He knows I'm coming. There's no surprise attack happening. And I'm going to make him think there's this meeting that's going to happen. And then I'm going to send him lots and lots of stuff, right? And it's interesting because you read the Pshat, the Torah goes on and on about the intervals. He's going to send this cattle of sheep and then have to wait a certain amount of time. And then they're going to separate all the different herds and then send them at different intervals and different times. Why is it telling us that? Because that's part of Yaakov's strategy, right? I'm going to send all of these herds, all of these flocks. That takes a lot of time to accept, right? Suddenly you get a herd of 100 sheep. You have to feed them. You have to put them in the barn. You have to have people give them water. You have to gather the hay. And then you're finally accepting them. They've been, integrated into the camp. And then boom, another flock comes. So it slows you down essentially. And because he's the one sending them, he'll also know exactly where Esav is, how much he's moving forward, how things are going. This is essentially slow him down, take time to figure it out, right? He'll know exactly where he is because we're sending things out. Okay, and then, right, when he is busy taking his time, he knows that, eventually we're going to meet. He's not stressed, right? It's no surprise. Then what is he going to do? Yaakov is going to travel when no one travels at night. No one's traveling. So what does he do? He's going to make a quick escape into Israel through Mabal Yabok, through the Yabok Valley. And then he'll already be at Yitzchak by the time that Esav reaches him. And he knows that Esav won't kill him if he's with Yitzchak. Great plan. What messes it up? What messes it up is the angel. The angel essentially holds him back the entire night. He loses that opportunity. And then, boom, he's surprised. Suddenly Esav is upon him. What is the message here? What is, by the way, if it's an angel, it's not an angel, it's Hashem. Hashem is essentially saying, Yaakov, enough. We can't run away. We can't go around the problem. You're going to have to meet the problem straight on, as is. It's no longer a way to deal with the adversary, the conflict in a way that's bad. The way that's a roundabout. You have to be straightforward. And essentially that's what happens. And by the way, really what happens is it's not anticlimactic, but it ends. Had Yaakov snuck away, made it into Israel before Esav, what would happen with that relationship? Esav would be even more intensely hating him. And eventually it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. If you ignore it, it never goes away. Essentially, he has to confront him and say, I'm sorry. I'm your brother. I'm bowing down. I'm succumbing to him. And in the end, he forgives him. The pshat, right? Of course, there's a lot of midrash Vayishkeo, he tries to bite him. But the pshat is they go their separate ways and it's done. The story is over. He finishes it once and for all. And it's interesting, by the way, the name Yisrael, he doesn't get it here. It's not really the first time that we see Israel. The angel's telling me it's gonna be that. And from now on out, by the way, whenever you see the name Yisrael, it's always connected to the nationhood or something about building the nationhood because it is how we have to act as a nation. And it's interesting, the first time that someone calls him Yisrael, besides for this angel, is actually right after they go to Shechem, right? And we have the story of Dinah, of the rape of Dinah. Shechem, the son of Shechem ben Hamor takes Dinah, he rapes her. It's awful. It's a very, very bad story. And and they're totally distraught. She's been abducted, taken hostage, and abused. And then we have the pasuk, Uvnei Yaakov, pasuk zayin, lamed daled, pasuk zayin. Uvnei Yaakov באו מן השדה כשומעם והתעצבו האנשים ואיחר להם מאוד כי נבלה עשה בישראל. Right? They come from the fields, and when they heard, they're just torn apart. They're so upset, and they become insanely angry, right? Because nevala, this atrocity has been done to Yisrael. They call Yaakov Yisrael. Yaakov's still even here. How does he want to deal with Shechem? We're going to make a pact. We're going to send him this. It's a little bit more political. And Shimon and Levi are saying, no, this is not how we deal with this. We don't go around it. We don't do political, let's talk about it. We have to hit this problem straight on. This is a horrible thing. Their din, halachically, is death. And I think that the message here is this. Essentially, we are now Israel. Our depth of what we're supposed to be, who we are, is seeing reality as it is and hitting it straight on. Not running away from our problems. Not saying, oh, we'll make all these little concessions and this and that. We're going to give back terrorists for this. We'll make deals with Hamas. You did something. We believe our enemies when they tell us we want to destroy you. And we respond how we need to. Straight on, without cutting corners, with no fear. Personally, as Israel, we see conflict. Running around it doesn't make it go away. Confronting it, apologizing when we need to, talking about it, but not ignoring it. Not trying to pretend it doesn't exist, not trying to escape it. That usually just causes things to get bigger and bigger and bigger. I bless us all that we will be in a time period, Baruch Hashem, Bezrat Hashem, that our nation and our leaders will learn from these stories. We'll recognize that we are Yisrael, Yashar, not only Yashar, but also Starita. We struggle with the problem. It comes in front of us. We have to move it. We have to deal with it. And we can recognize that the only way that we will get to full redemption is the same process that Yaakov himself has to go through, which is creating menucha, standing up, being strong against our enemies, wiping them out, fixing the problem. And on a personal level, that we should all be able to see when we have problems and instead of trying to get around things or like whitewash them or make them clear, we confront them. We confront them, we heal them, we apologize if needed, we add good, we move forward. Shabbat Shalom.